volleyball game can get going. But we'd like to congratulate you guys and your coaches on a wonderful season. We're very proud of you for representing our district. Do you guys want to add anything else?
No, I had the luxury of watching you guys play online because I couldn't make it up to Albuquerque, and you guys played phenomenal. First time ever in Cobre's history that we go to the state championship. So congratulations.
I watched a lot of the games here, and I wasn't able to make the one. I really wanted to go, but wasn't able to make the one.
Can you turn your mic on, please? Thank you.
You guys really want to hear it? Anyway, watching you guys grow as you started out pretty strong and then ended up even stronger, it's a good testament to your coaching and to your willingness. You guys are absolutely incredible. You guys, it was the most exciting sport in Cobre this year, undoubtedly. So congratulations, and congratulations on second place. It's a big honor still. I know there was first, that was most in mind, but you brought back a big honor to Cobre. Thank you very much.
So I'm going to go ahead and start with the coaches, recognize the coaches first. So head coach Julie Guterres. If you can come up, please. And then I don't know, assistant coach Shelby Benfields. Okay. Our other assistant coach Denise Plasencio. And there's Shelby's too. And then the other assistant coach Jasmine Black. And I'm going to have your coach read your names so I don't butcher any of them, okay? Jasmine. And then if you can come up when we call your name, we have a certificate and a t-shirt for you. Congratulations.
Kaisha's not here. Liliana. Kira.
Liliana. Congratulations.
Bella Garcia. Sammy Huerta. Sadia
Congratulations. Congratulations. Sammy,
Bella Saez, she couldn't be here.
Sammy Huerta,
Sandy
and then
Silva.
Saya. Congratulations.
Camara Ortiz. And
Congratulations.
Bonnie Morales. And our managers, Leona and Alexa.
Liliana, congratulations. Bella? Okay. All right. Congratulations. Mary? Congratulations. And Bobby? Yeah. Congratulations. Managers? Liliana? There you go. Congratulations again, ladies. Thank you so much for representing our district. Sure, absolutely. Unless she wants to throw it back on you, and you.
Principal should say a few words as well.
Go ahead, Mr. Gropp, you're up.
Okay, you can hear me from here, right?
We need you on a microphone, sir. And you need to hustle a little. Some of these girls need to get to Snell.
Sorry. I think it's important to note that the volleyball team went undefeated in district play. So let's give a round of applause for that. And then the only game they lost in the state playoffs was the championship game, which I know they wanted to win first place, but a lot of other teams had to use the double elimination, and we never had to use that. And so that's another round of applause for our girls. And then, most importantly, when you look at these girls' GPA for the volleyball team, I think it's above a 95. Is that correct? 3.6, so that's amazing right there for us. So they represented our school very well, especially on the court and off the court, and we're just really proud of them and really proud of them not losing a game in district and then going all the way to the state championship. So, good job, buddy.
Thanks, Mr. Kraft. Did you want to say anything? Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
They know how proud I am of them. And, thank you guys for all your support. We appreciate that.
And parents, I forgot to mention you too. You guys make the trips and you're there supporting your kids. So thank you. Sure. This is about them. Let's just do a picture with them. All right, sounds good.
Good job, girls.
Thank you.
Can we give these to you for? Thank you.
I don't know if I'll use it or not.
No, I got one here someplace, right here. Do you have copies of the agenda? Usually they have it, right? I got it in here.
Okay, that takes us to a roll call. Vice President Guadiana,
Present?
Secretary Terrazas,
Present.
myself present, Miss Heredia and Mrs. Harden are not going to be here tonight. Neither is Mr. Corey. But we do have a quorum. That moves us to our board norms. Number 1, actively listen to all perspectives.
Close the loop, responding to concerns and questions as a unified board.
Model the professionalism we expect from all members of the district and community, customer service orientation.
Number 4, assume positive intent.
And be positive and responsive.
Okay, if we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and New Mexico flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. That moves us to item E, our Kiwanis Student of the Month, Mrs. Pfeiffer.
Kiwanis, as most of y'all know, is a service organization, and we sponsor many we sponsor youth organizations, mainly in the schools. And part of that is that we wanted to recognize, we do the terrific kids in all the elementary schools, but we also wanted to recognize the secondary schools too. So this month, we have at Snell, Mrs. Barragon wrote, "I would like to nominate Yesenia Gonzalez as Student of the Month. Yesenia is an exceptional student athlete and just a well-rounded individual. Every day she shows up ready to give her best. Yesenia is very polite and greets everyone with a smile. She comes to class ready to learn and is always willing to lend a helping hand. Yesenia is a pleasure to have in class. She is a ray of sunshine.
Congratulations.
And if you could just stay over here, we'll take pictures of
Can
you
we-
and the board, or in.
Can we get her? Because I think she has, you have to get to your game, right? Let's
Oh,
let's get
okay.
it. Let's get the
Let's-
picture quickly, and then you can go to your
Quickly
your
go
game.
ahead and.
We gotta be Cliff, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right, my hometown.
If the board members could be invited, and-
Okay, look at me first, and then you can do one, two, three. Okay, all right, ready? 2, 3. Perfect, thank you.
Thanks. Good luck. Is Christopher Draper here? Yes. Come in. Christopher has been selected as the Cobre High School Student of the Month. Christopher is presently a senior at Cobre High School and will be graduating in May of 2024. He has a great GPA and is always working for improvement. He works diligently in class and is always putting his own unique spin and personality to the things he does. He is lighthearted and has learned to be very confident in all he does in school. His teachers enjoy having him in class, and they appreciate his effort and kindness. We also look forward to his growth.
Congratulations.
You want to come up here to the board?
Go ahead and put it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay, Christopher, look at me. Smile. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Pfeiffer. We already did the recognition of the Cobre varsity volleyball team. That moves us to item 2, adoption of the agenda. I'd like to make some recommendations. If we can remove board self-evaluation from new business and move it to the next meeting, as well in executive, if we can take out item A. And that's because I didn't send out the electronic form to the board members with ample time to review them.
Just a point of order, it'd probably be better done with a motion to table and, as opposed to just removing it from the agenda.
Okay. Then I'd like to make a motion to table those 2 items until our next meeting.
You're calling for the motion?
No, I can make a motion. Do I have a
Okay.
second?
Yeah, second as amended.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and table those 2 items till our next meeting. And I apologize for not getting that out in time.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. It's been a long day with first graders. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. Thanks for keeping me accountable up here. That moves us to item number 3, public input. Item A, agenda items. Does anyone have public comment on agenda items? Anyone online, Caitlin? Okay. That's public input on items of concern. Okay. That moves us to item 4 then, administration, principals, directors' reports. Item A, our food services supervisor, Ms. Alma Grijalva.
Good evening, President Begay, members of the board, Mr. Forrest. In the packet provided, you will find information on the Thanksgiving dinner that was served back on November 7th. The Food Service Department applied for 2024-2025 USDA Equipment Assistant Grant and received notification that Cobre has been selected to have funds allocated. At the moment, we're just waiting on the amount of the allocation and the award letter. And it's in your packet.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This was the first ever, so
That's
we're
awesome.
going somewhere, we're going somewhere. The department has received its first indoor hydroponic tower. You've got pictures in your folder. So we're gonna start growing. We've got one right now, and we're just gonna start with lettuce. But hoping we'll get somewhere with it.
Where's it gonna be housed at?
Right now at Central Elementary,
Okay.
because I wanna keep an eye on it. But the kids, they just like wanna get their hands on it. They're like, oh, wow, this is neat. So, Farmington has like 20 of them in their district, and they're doing great. So, hopefully, we'll get there.
Awesome.
Okay. Food service staff had a professional development day on November 1st. Training was provided by New Mexico PED staff, Gabriel Gardin, New Mexico Grown Coalition, and Aaron Nathaniel Moore, New Mexico Grown Coordinator. Tons of useful information was provided to all. Staff training was very productive. We had talked about the Golden Chili Award a while back. It was held on Thursday, October 24th in Albuquerque at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. And Cobre Schools was awarded the Seed Award and was presented with a certificate.
Congratulations. That speaks to you and your staff. No, good for you.
Well, I don't know where Mr. Corey wants to
Okay.
put them over.
Don't go in my office, it's fine.
That's it. That's all I have for now.
Do you have some guests with you tonight?
I do.
Okay.
And I had said maybe she wanted to say something about the Golden Seed Award because she's really into it and she knows a whole lot more.
Sure. I just wanted to make people aware, though, this email speaks to Alma and her staff. From PED, she's the program coordinator of Kids Kitchens Healthy Meals, and it says in her email to Alma that her staff is awesome. They made the training fun and interactive. She said at some trainings, the staff just sit there and don't really participate. The uniforms are very nice, and your team looks very professional, and I could feel a sense of pride. I'm thinking the pride translates into their work as well. Your kitchen is the cleanest kitchen I have seen so far. I was very impressed with your exhaust vent area. You run a tight ship, but it is a ship that gets things done. Keep up the good work. So, thank you, Alma, and thank you to your team for that.
Thank you.
Did you want to say a few words?
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. So, I'm Alicia Edwards. I'm with Healthy Kids, Healthy Communities, Grant County, and this is my colleague, Cassandra Hartley. I've been working with Alma and her staff in the student nutrition department now for close to 10 years. And I want to talk just for a minute about the incredible progress that we've made in the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, both with the schools, around healthy foods, around getting food to low-income families. We started the program at Bayard Elementary with the Commons and getting fruit and vegetable boxes to kids' families. We're doing amazing things in the cafeterias thanks to Alma and her incredible interest in the kind of food that kids are getting. And I think the Golden Seed Award is really important. It's called the Seed Award for a very specific reason. It recognizes that a program is in the early stages of being amazing. And for sure, the program here at Cobre Schools is. And I'm just going to say this out loud. I think that has a lot to do with the changes that have happened in the district in the last few years also. The support has been amazing. And I think it's safe to say that Alma feels more supported than she ever has before in her work as well. She's doing an amazing job. She does have an amazing staff. And thank you, Alma, for all your hard work. There is nothing harder than being a student nutrition director because they get the crap from every direction. And so I think honoring the student nutrition director and her staff is a really, really important thing for the district to do. And New Mexico Grown as well. New Mexico Grown is a big part of what's happening across the state with universal school lunches and the grant that they just got for kitchen equipment and that sort of thing. The legislature is really supporting this, and it's important for us to continue to push the legislature to keep supporting schools in this way. This is not something we talk about very often in the schools, but the number one most important thing that kids can have in order to be able to learn and play sports and be out on the playground and all of that is the quality of the nutrition that they're getting. And many, many, many kids in Grant County are counting on the school breakfast and school lunch as the only meals they're getting. So thank you, Alma, for all your incredible hard work.
Thank you. Thank you for all your help.
And thank you to the administration and to the school board for supporting the schools. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, that moves us to our coordinator of operations, Gary Plasencio and Jasmine Black.
Good evening. So I just have a couple updates for our strategic goals. I've completed our facility safety checklist that we're going to do a test run in January on that and see if we're missing any things and we need to add any things, get feedback for that so that we can have it ready to rock and roll for school year 2025-2026. And then we had applied for the COPS grant so that we could expand our security cameras and our keyless entry, but unfortunately we did not receive the COPS grant this year, and so we are back to seeking other funding through other means at this point. So when we have an update on that, I will let you know if we have other funding to speak of. And then, so I know the kitchen hood fire suppression system has come up a couple of times. We are on schedule right now for the week of December 30th to have those systems in Snell, Sanlo, and the high school all brought up to date and replaced with the you all listed 300 systems that need to be in code.
Who's the contractor associated with that?
Dymar,
Dimar.
they're out of Las Cruces.
So I have 4 guys on standby, well, 3 guys, including myself. If we have to do any of the electrical while they do it, they're more than on board, even though it's our break and everything. So hopefully we can get everything up and running before school starts up. So,
Because it'll take a few days, maybe a week, for them to get the whole system up to date. So we have that, and then the solar installation is coming now. They recently reached back out to us. The original installment company had gone out of business. They had to make a new agreement with a new installment company. So the contracts are still all intact with Yellowbird or Solar Wealth, whichever one you want to call them by. And the new installers came and met with us just a couple weeks ago. They are hoping to have everything started and done December, January. So
we moved, on the original plans, we moved them around a little bit, where they're gonna go. For example, here, we're gonna put them on the fleet to kind of cover up the fleet and save that. And then, one of the biggest difficulties we have right now is where to put it at the high school. You know, we wanna get a new high school and we wanna take stuff down. So we kind of came up with putting it in the student parking lot. And then over in Hurley, we moved it to the backside, so we have that I don't know what street it is, but it's the backside of the elementary, so it has that parking lot right along the street. So we'll put it right there, so hopefully the staff will start parking back there because it'll be shaded and then free up the street a little bit.
Yeah, for pick up the kids,
Yeah.
dropping them off and picking them up.
Yeah, you know, plus they'll park under their cars, their personal vehicles under that, so hopefully they'll start parking back there. There is a couple of places where they have to put battery banks. So everything from my knowledge, and one of the questions I asked was like how the maintenance is gonna be. They said that they were gonna take care of the maintenance, and everything's pretty much free, right? I mean, we checked that twice. So, and it's gonna help our, you know, on some of these where, for example, the softball field uses a lot of electricity whenever they're using the lights and stuff. So it'll go back in the grid and we'll get a credit, you know, in a lot of these places. Another difficult place that we still don't know what's gonna happen, with Snell, to see where we wanna put it, because if we get a high school, of course, we're gonna get the new, junior high. So, but they can move them pretty easy, they were saying. So if we have another place where we wanna add them or where we see electricity going up, it's gonna help us out.
What's the longevity of the contract or the agreement?
I don't know that.
I'm not sure either.
Or just
so
make a
this-
note and get back to us? just-
Yeah, I can
just-
get back to you on that, because we have them, this process was started before us.
Yes, oh yeah.
So
no,
we're
right.
kind of coming late into the game,
Yeah.
but.
No, they came
I
and
can
gave a
get-
presentation, and then when we were waiting for it in
Never
6 months
happened.
later, like, hey, they went out of business, like, whoa, time out, what
Yeah.
happened?
Well,
Yeah,
see,
so
that
the original company is still in business. Who they contracted
okay,
to
a sub,
install is
okay.
the company that went out of business. There was some issues with residential stuff, and then they went out of business. So then Solar Wealth had to go and find a new installer for their solar panels, but they are still intact.
Because I know the batteries are pretty expensive for that stuff. You know, and that's one of the questions I had, and how big is the maintenance, you know what I mean? And, he had assured us that everything was pretty much free. I know Mr. Corey liked that. So, but we've only met once with them, so I don't have any answers for you on that.
I think it was like 25 years and we had the option to pay by the equipment. But I mean, that was 6 months ago, so
Yeah.
double check
So,
for us,
yeah,
please.
I will-
Okay.
I have a question. Where's is there specific sites already located for the battery location? 'Cause
So
that's like-
only a couple of sites are gonna get the battery locations.
Okay.
Do you remember where?
I believe the high school and
Hurley was so
I think
the
Hurley was-
portable in the back, Hurley actually draws a lot of, I don't see it, but you know, it's drawing, they said it draws a lot, so they're gonna have its own panels, and then they're gonna have a battery bank, on that little, I think just because the air conditioner, I think just might be a little old, so it's drawing up a lot of electricity on that. But there's only 2 sites, I believe, that are gonna have battery banks. The rest is just gonna go back into the grid.
Okay, and the projected amount that our electricity bill will change, do you know?
He threw those numbers out, but so he has to double check on all that when he gets back, when he meets with us again, he's gonna have an answer for us on that. Because he was saying, because he's saying that it doesn't draw a lot at the baseball field, but it draws a lot at the softball field. And I kind of feel like the baseball field gets used way more than the softball field. So he was gonna double check the numbers again. He threw a lot of numbers at us that day, but he said when he meets us with again, he's gonna have an answer for all of that, and then we can report that back to you guys.
Okay, and another part, if you, when you meet with them, if you could get the amount that we would be feeding into, like the percentage of the power that we'd be feeding back into the grid.
Okay.
I'd like to kind of know that.
Is this a Zoom call, a Teams call?
No, he came in.
Oh, he came
He
physically.
came here.
Yeah.
He came here. It was me and Jasmine and
Mr. Corey.
Mr. Corey.
Yeah.
I just had a question on the app that you guys were using. I don't know if you're still using it for them to clock in and clock out.
No, we have
No.
gone away from that.
So I got away from that. I wasn't really sure how to use it myself.
Okay.
And originally, the only thing that I knew what it was for is to track the guys, GPS them. But I'm kind of out in the field, so I drive. I'm either working with them, and I feel I'm not in the office. I'm out there working with them, so I see them every day. Every minute. I'm out there. You know what I mean? To me, it was useless because I'm not in the office just looking at the computer, or I'm out there working with them. We're working side by side. I call them, I know where they're at pretty much every minute of the day. So the app doesn't really do anything for me. If you guys want me to use it, I'll use it, but I just didn't have any use for it.
Okay, because I know Mr. Corey talked about your guys' department piloting that for potential use in other departments. So that's just the question I had.
Okay.
And so maybe we can talk to him about it.
Yeah.
And then how many work orders do you guys have? And then how many are not completed yet?
We have, in progress, we have 223 in progress right now.
Okay.
I really don't know that part. She's the one that does most of that.
Okay.
I just see the work orders and we go and we just, if I see that somebody can do a better job in it, and I'll just assign it to somebody else. And then I take a lot of the workload also. And then I have some of the younger guys who were just labeled as helpers or something. I'm working with them side by side and bringing them up, and they're actually improving so well. Everybody, half the crew is really on board. Half the crew I'm still working with, but all in all, everybody's like pulling their weight now. They're, just like we cut the tree for this, I had
The tree lighting.
the tree lighting, so I had them go on Sunday, and, most of the time they would fight me on, we don't work weekends, or how am I gonna be compensated? They were more than willing, and they asked, can we invite this guy? I'm like, if he wants to come out. They went out and they found a tree, we brought it back. Of course, it looked a lot better out there. And we stood it up, and, we're out there just trying to fix a lot of stuff.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so, we're at 223, but that number has kind of remained steady, because, I get anywhere between 20 to 30 requests almost every day for something.
Okay.
So the guy, it's not like it's just mounting up, like the guys are working through it, if that number hasn't come down a little bit, they're working through stuff and they're kind of keeping it
Okay.
consistent where it's at.
Any problems with our heating and cooling now that we're entering colder
I think
months?
a lot of that has just been like maintenance and then getting things switched over.
Okay.
A lot of requests for, can we have the heater turned on here and the heater turned on here, or the heater didn't stay on here, but Jaime has been pretty good about
Well-
getting to those pretty quickly, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of requests. There's a little bit, at the they call it, considered the 400 there at the high school. The motors, I mean, they're like blowers, so they blow the heat. They had cracks in them, they were causing backdraft. So each one of them was like $2,500, and we needed 3 of them. I told Jaime to take them off, and I looked at them and was like, we can weld these. I can't weld no more, so I had him take them to Milo. Milo said he would weld them, but he didn't want to be responsible for them. I was like, dude, if you either get them working or they're not working. I mean, it is what it is. But we welded them, saved them, so we saved that right there. Put them back in, and now they're all 3 working right now.
Okay.
Using your resources.
Yeah, I mean, we do this on, I mean, go steal parts from other police, you know what I mean? And that's how it started. One went down. I told him to rob the parts for the other one because the classroom's not being used right now. And then ended up both of them being bad. And then there's another 3rd classroom. I said, well, if those 2 are bad, then that one's bad. He went and looked, and he kind of noticed it. And then I was kind of coming up a way that I could go talk to Frank, like, hey, we're gonna have to spend this money. And then I said, and then I told him take them off so I can see them. I said, we can weld this. And I took them to Milo, and Milo welded them, and they're holding, and it's already been over a little bit about a month.
All right,
So,
great, thank you.
I mean,
Any other more comments, questions?
Yeah, the system, the tracking system, I understand the real-time impact of that is probably not productive, but how much history can you save on that? So that if there is a question, you can go back and look at that to see if there is some kind of evidence that can either make a point or clear a point.
I mean, I just didn't know how to use the app, to be honest with you. I know when I was just a regular worker, I didn't like it. And it's not that I had anything to hide, it was,
Didn't feel practical.
yeah, like, because you're clocking in for lunch, clocking out for lunch. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. I'm doing work, and then Lisa would call me and say, hey, clock in. I'm like, oh, we didn't take this time. So, you know what I mean? We're just going back and forth with it. If I wasn't out, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, like I said, I'll use it. I just don't know how to use it, but I mean, if it's something you guys want us to do, to look into, I mean, to get to answer your question, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. We can go back to it.
The history that you inherited kind of, to me, begs that we do have something that provides that accountability.
Okay. Joe? So,
But of course, have that conversation with your boss, Mr. Corey.
yes, yes.
I think because it's going to be pros and cons to
Yeah.
to anything new that's being presented, right?
Right. Okay.
That's all I have for you. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
you.
You guys-
Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to item C, our Coordinator of Technology, Caitlin Church.
Good evening, Madam President, other board members present, Mr. Corey. Well, I'm fixing computers. I'm trying to get employees hired, so I've got more help fixing computers and just trying to keep the place from together with baling wire and duct tape, so same as always. Nothing's changed.
How is it looking on hiring someone?
We got notification today that his background check came back, but there was something that was wrong on it, so Mr. Corey has to decide whether to approve it or not.
Okay.
I do have a part-time employee from New Mexico Workforce pre-apprenticeship program that started today. I think once we get him trained up, he will provide some added help there. Problem is, he is on a allotment of only 400 hours for the entire program, so that means I can only use him sparingly.
Okay.
So we've got a 20-hour work week scheduled for him right now. And those are flexible hours, so if I need him more on one day than another, I can call and he'll come in. He's already said would be fine with him, so.
Okay.
We're doing 20 hours a week right now so we can keep him as long as possible, because otherwise it's like 10 weeks and he's done, so
Okay.
I want to try to keep him through at least the end of the school year.
Okay.
With that being said, the reason I want to keep him around for as long as possible is because we have continuation of a couple of big projects. One, placement of Chromebooks at our middle school and high school will happen this spring, as well as new laptops for all of our teachers. The black ThinkPads, like Mr. Terrasas has there, will be going out to pretty much all of our teachers in the district, starting hopefully 1st of April, so that those replacements will be done, and all of our teachers who will be here for the 25-26 school year will have those laptops before they leave for the summer.
Okay. The only thing I had a question about is our minutes on the website. Our attorney informed me that we didn't have some minutes up. If we can,
Every set of minutes I get from her, I post to the website, so
okay. Sounds good.
we will look into that.
Okay.
So,
I have a question still regarding the insurance. And are we still collecting?
The insurance, officially, the period to enroll in the insurance program we're providing ended at the end of October. There have been a couple who have come to me and said, is it still possible to get in on it? I've said, considering everything else, yes, because we're self-managing our insurance program, whereas a lot of school districts are contracting that with a company that provides insurance for these type things. It's a little bit more flexible. So I've said yes, and it's on a case-by-case basis. So it wasn't, we didn't have as many enrollees as I'd hoped. But as the year goes on, I think some parents are seeing the benefit of it. I've already had a couple say, I wish I bought the insurance. So I think going forward for next year, it's something that's going to be utilized more by the parents. So it's worth continuing.
I thought the ones that were issued out this year were insured.
All of the new Chromebooks that we've received for the elementary schools have a full 4-year warranty on them. All the devices at the middle school and high school level were upcycled from our elementary schools to them for this year. And the way that insurance works is basically us just trying to recoup some of the cost on the price of the Chromebooks. Because of that outstanding warranty they have, they costed a few dollars more per unit than a base Chromebook would have. But that warranty is very well worth it. We have sent back somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 Chromebooks already this fall due to a screen defect from the factory. And instead of them just sending me the replacement screens saying, here, fix them yourself, because of that warranty, they're paying for the shipping both directions. They're doing all the repairs and are dealing with all the warranty issues with HP, since this is a defect from HP, not from anything that we did to them or students did to them. But that warranty is covering a lot of the labor that's allowing us to get these repaired and cycled through so that these issues are, as we're discovering them, instead of having to wait for me to have time to fix them or one of my employees being available to make the repairs.
And then to this point, have we had many family members be responsible and have to pay for repairs?
No, believe it or not, I've only had librarians notify me of 5 Chromebooks that have been damaged that the parents had not paid for the insurance. So that is down substantially from last year. Last year at this time, we were dealing with somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 Chrome devices that had been damaged by students that were having to be repaired. And of course, at that time, everything was being charged out to the parents. So the warranties are actually saving us in a lot of areas. The insurance is saving us in a lot of areas, and it's really beneficial. If you'd like, I can put together a more detailed report for you showing how many have been damaged that were covered by insurance, how many that weren't, so that you can see. But at this point, I don't have those numbers in front of me.
That's okay. And my concern is that the way it was presented, it seems like even if there was a warranty, the parents still may get charged.
The only way a parent is going to get charged is if the damage happens and they did not have our school insurance policy on them. And we did that because these Chromebooks need to last 4 to 5 years. Right now, we're dealing with Chromebooks that are failing substantially that were purchased in 2021, which is a 3-year turnaround. So by having the insurance there, when the warranty does run out, we'll have money in the coffers set aside to make those repairs so we can continue to get life out of those Chromebooks, whereas in districts that have a lot more money than we do, they would have just said, okay, we're doing a 3-year replacement cycle on them and get rid of them. We can stretch the life of Chromebooks out to that 5-year mark, which is where most industry experts say a Chromebook lifespan should be, is at about 5 years. And being in the IT world in school districts, I can tell you that is not the case most of the time. It's usually about 3 years, and school districts just bite the bullet and say, we'll replace them every 3 years. I don't think we have to. I think if we provide the right funding mechanism in place, which is, in our case, the $25 insurance per device per student, then we can recoup some of the money that we would have lost having to replace them in 3 years instead of 5 years. All because we're having some money put back so that when we have to start replacing parts out of our own pocket, we still got money so that when the next time we do have to replace them, we're not saying, okay, we're fixing and replacing, we're just replacing. And that's what we did this year, was fix and replace, because all of the ones we upcycled had significant damage, and I had to spend a significant amount of money buying replacement screens, replacement keyboards, things that I shouldn't have to spend money on, in my experience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Okay, that moves us to item D, our project coordinator, Teresa Villa.
Good evening, Madam President and board members. So the first thing I would like to talk about is our trunk or treat that we had for Halloween. So thank you to everybody who showed up. We had about 350 families present. So it was pretty awesome. It was a good turnout. We had the line all the way out to the security box for quite some time, so it was pretty good. And then we had our turkey drive, which we were able to supply 150 families with food, turkeys, and boxes. And I want to say thank you to our maintenance department and to Gary, because they took all the turkeys from the high school and drove them over to the parent center for us. And they even stayed and made sure that nobody stole them, which was awesome. And then when we were done, they took them back to each school so that the schools could distribute the ones that weren't able to show up to the parent center. So that was good. And then, as you all know, we have our tree lighting coming up this Thursday, December 12th at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we want to thank Santa Claus for coming down from the North Pole for us. So, thank you.
You are reaching really low there to get one.
So, we're going to get pictures of Santa Claus for $5. So, it was pretty good last year.
Do we have to pay them to get the pictures?
No. And then NMSU will be here for the planetarium. So that's going to be pretty awesome. We had them last year. It was a good success. We're going to have a special guest appearance. So I would encourage you all to go for that.
When is this?
December 12th, this Thursday.
Okay, the next.
Yes. And then the Commons will be there as well. And then we also want to thank maintenance and Gary for supplying our tree. And they already have it up over there, so. And then, of course, Mr. Gropp, they're going to decorate it for us. Thank you, Mr. Gropp.
Like
Is,
this,
Action item.
Is the tree outside?
Yes, ma'am, it's
Okay.
outside. The mariachi band from Snell is also going to be there, and they're going to perform. The high school and middle school are going to be doing s'mores, and each school is going to be having a table, and they're going to be doing crafts for each school. So, and then we're also going to have a sip and paint in January at the Parent Center. It's not a real sip, so I just want to put that out there. So, yes, it's just a paint. We're probably going to be sipping on juice. So,
You can do a mocktail.
yes. So I would encourage you guys to go see the Parent Center. It looks really good. We had a lot of families go in for the turkey drive, and they were really impressed. A lot of families actually utilized the Parent Center when they went for the turkey drive, so it's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
The bottom of the tree looks pretty bad, because when I was watching them cut it to get it to stand, I saw a certain someone cut some branches off that shouldn't be cut off, so.
I like that you stood there and watched, but didn't go offer to help.
No, I did.
Oh,
I
okay.
went out there and
This
said,
was
"What are you doing?"
after,
And
okay.
he had the chainsaw in his hand, so I just turned around and walked in there.
It looked better way out there. It's way out there, so I brought it
It was
in.
funny, you should have saw some of his staff like, what are you doing?
So that's it. That's all I have.
All right.
Thank
Any-
you for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Okay, that moves us to item 5, Finance Committee report. We did not meet. We are scheduled to meet next week on Wednesday, right, Mr. Ryan? You said not Tuesday. So will Wednesday work for you, David?
What day is that?
The 18th. Okay.
Just
I'll let George and Angelina know. Okay, that moves us to item 6, our Audit Committee report.
We haven't met since the last board meeting. However, at the last board meeting, there was a lot discussed as to why it is we need a charter. And so I'm going back to the committee this Wednesday to discuss what the outcome was of the board's review of that. And that will continue to be, I think, an issue to discuss for quite some time. And I'm sad to report that consequently, we really don't have any progress to report on where we're at with submissions to audits and/or processes that we have any effect on realizing whether they're moving forward or not. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guadiana. That moves us to item 7, our action items. Item A, approval of minutes of regular board meeting of November 18th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of the board meeting held on November 18th, 2024.
Do I have a second?
I'll sec-
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item B, approval of the collective bargaining agreement. Mr. Lewis, do you want to speak to anything?
Madam President, board members, thank you. Mr. Corey, thank you. No, I just wanted to, I really hope we're at the point where we're ready to finalize this collective bargaining agreement. We've worked on it for 3 years now. It has been good negotiations with both teams that went through it. We're just ready to, there's, you know, since it is a living document, there's always issues that could be addressed with it that we could go back and probably hit. With the amount of time that was spent on it, I hope that we can just move forward with this and maybe keep some of those ideas in the back of our head for the next time we need to meet on it.
Okay, Mr. Guadiana, I know you were our representative.
I will answer any questions you guys have on it.
Okay.
How often had you met since, I only went to one meeting.
Okay.
How often have you met recently, say in the last year?
We haven't met since we did a couple of meetings in August, just to kind of clarify language that was brought up in the legislative session that needed to be addressed. But other than meeting in August, we carried it all the way up until our last meeting on it was the last Wednesday before we took off for summer vacation. So this was all finalized, like everything was ready. We just had no chance to take it to the membership.
When you say last August, you're talking about 2023?
No, by August, I'm talking about this year, a couple months ago, when we just talked about what was in there legislatively that needed to be addressed that we could not address last year during the meetings.
I'd just like to put on the record, there was no invitation for board participation on that. Being that the
You know,
board-
I have explained to you for 3 years what the board needs to do for participation. I have told you for 3 years exactly what you need to do in order to participate. And we have not held you out of anything. You hire your team and you send your team to negotiations. You have to meet with your team to find out what is going on with the negotiations.
To comment on that, the board is allowed to have one person that represents the board and participates in the negotiations. You're not responsible for sending invitations to those meetings. It is the superintendent that's responsible for that. And not being aware of any meetings that happen seriously limits the board's participation in those. It isn't a matter of seek and bind, it's a matter of participating.
So what you're telling me is that you being there is more important than the 5 members of my team who showed up every week to negotiate this.
Absolutely not. I'm just saying that I wish I would have been there.
Well,
I don't know where you got to that.
We told you time and time again what you need to do to be there. And I don't understand why you're saying again, like you're bringing it up again, like you've been excluded from the whole process. And that is not the case and has never been the case as long as I have been the president of this union.
In what way have you communicated that there were meetings going on?
The same message that I received, you guys receive.
I never received those messages.
I know that there was a transition because our previous representative was Miss Serena Murillo, who was unable to attend when you guys had those scheduled meetings.
Right.
That's my understanding. She just,
Right.
she
Well,
told
that's-
us, she told us she couldn't attend because of work reasons or whatever. So that was on us because she wasn't able to attend and we didn't have our voice heard in the
Right.
negotiations.
Right, and so we denied those negotiations. And we went through it again, carried it all the way, and that's why I'm very frustrated, because you have wasted 2 years of my time, because you're saying, because you don't send a team over there that you feel comfortable with negotiating with and explaining to you what's going on. You guys pick your team as the board.
When the transition was made from Serena to me, the team had already been picked as far as administration representation. There was never a reassessment of who is going to be on that team. It stayed constant. So
I would beg to differ with you, because the 5 members that you had the first time I negotiated this contract, you fired.
Oh, okay, then that part was still done by the time I participated in, they were already gone. They were gone for about a year.
No, they were not. We carried out a full negotiations. We supplied you these negotiations for you guys to look at and approve. You denied them, and we went ahead and went through a full year of negotiations without no problems in the negotiations. It was open and known to you that you could come and show up whenever you want to show up. I have told you this time and time again.
So, Mr. Lewis, you feel like it's ready to go?
I do feel like it's ready to go, yes.
Is there a member of our team here tonight? I know Mr. Corey's on that, but he's not here tonight. Mr. Ryan, are you on that negotiating team?
Mr. Ryan was on it, Ms. Chavita was on it.
Can I ask that, do you two feel like this is ready to go and we're at a good point?
I do. I believe that it is.
Mr. Ryan? Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Lewis?
I have a question for the participants. Was there notification sent to me? Was I supposed to be aware of the times that this thing we were meeting? I don't like the accusation, quite frankly, that you told me, because you haven't told me.
I never told you I've told you time and time again in this forum what the process is. I
Okay,
can't
so,
tell you what's going on as a board member, because I can't sit on your team and negotiate for the union.
Okay. So have I been made aware of any meetings that have taken place recently?
I'm not sure. I did not send the invites out.
I didn't send them out either.
How did you
Okay.
show up at meetings?
I
if
only
you
knew of
weren't
one.
invited?
I only showed
that-
up at one because I was invited to that.
We haven't had any meetings since that one that you've been to.
It was last
And
year.
there really wasn't anything after that.
Well, it's talking about meeting in August.
Yeah, there may have been.
And we were provided updates up until that point. Mr. Corey had provided us updates in executive session.
The meeting that I did attend, he did provide an update, yes.
I think we've had a couple updates.
Just the point of where they were, that they were going out to ratification from the union.
Because we did give some suggestions on negotiation strategies at that point.
Yep.
Okay.
And my waste of time is one of the reasons I've stepped down as your union president. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve. I'd like to make a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement. Do I have a second? Okay, then I'd like to make a motion to table the collective bargaining agreement.
I'll move through table.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that moves us to item 8. New business, item A, discussion on actions to ensure gate revenues are appropriately received, accounted for, and accounting how the funds are spent. Mr. Ryan, if you can speak to this, please.
Sure. What do you want to know about it?
I believe this is Mr. Guadiana's action,
Yeah.
agenda item.
Okay.
What is the process for instance, you have one of the reasons is because I've seen many times where there's just one person at the table receiving the money and issuing the tickets, which is
Yes,
certainly
that's correct.
a violation of internal controls.
No, it's not.
How so?
How many schools do you go to that you see two people working?
How many does it take?
It just takes one.
Okay, so the one that I go to, we see that one person sitting at the table and receiving the money and issuing the ticket, maybe. And the financial controls have to present a deterrence for anybody to have the opportunity to misappropriate money, to take money. And we're supposed to provide a level of participation that would only would require collusion for that to happen. In other words, one person doesn't have the ability to do that. If you have two people there, having the other one issue the ticket is a deterrent. The only way that they can steal is to have collusion.
Right. And that is if it were a material amount of money we were talking about. This is an immaterial amount.
What makes it immaterial?
We're not going to spend thousands of dollars to account for nickels.
We're not going to spend thousands of dollars to count for nickels.
How many
So
schools do you go to? Oh, go ahead.
There's a requirement in PFAS, the Public Finance Accounting, schedule. That requires that whenever you receive money, there should be one person receiving the money and the other person either writing the receipt or handing out the ticket. Then, from that point, so now we know that only one person can be there and you're quite all right with that.
Mr.
Okay,
Ryan,
if you could,
I have a question too. So is this person paid the person that collects the tickets?
yes, they are.
So, would we be able to pay for two people and break even? Or would we just be at
We'd
the
end
point
up-
where we just
We'd
say,
end up losing money.
hey,
We'd end up-
everyone, games are free, just come on in?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
You know,
show me the math on that, please, because
Okay.
how much do you pay per hour?
And Mr. Ryan, another question I have. So how much do we break even on most games? Like, and I'm not talking about like a Cobre Silver game. I'm talking, just,
right,
I would like to know, like,
a break-even point.
if we break even, if it's,
Yeah, after you pay your officials, all your workers and everything, there is a point. But how many schools do you go to that have two people? Does that happen anywhere?
Oh, you mean other schools other than
Yes,
Cobre?
yes.
Yeah, it happened.
I've-
Deming particularly has two people, and they only do it online. In Silver, I've seen
Okay.
it two people occasionally, and I've seen it sometimes one
Occasionally.
people. Nevertheless, what you're talking about in the money, you pay them, what, $12 an hour?
I don't have those numbers in front of me.
What do you pay?
I was just going to comment on it. So I've taken over the AD responsibilities at the high school, and I was actually talking to Margaret Rocho, who's our secretary at the high school, and I was asking her what the process was. And the process that she does is the exact same process that we did in Aztec when I was an athletic director.
Okay.
And I'll just be honest with you, we had one person at each table. And so basically what they do is they hand out a ticket, they give you the money. Margaret knows exactly what tickets are left. And so she counts the money and the tickets as after I lock it up. I don't even open up the box. After each game, I take the box and I put it in the vault. Margaret, the next day in the morning, counts the tickets and then audits the tickets against the money that she received. And if there's any discrepancy, we call the person and say, hey, what's going on? To my knowledge, I asked Margaret if there's any discrepancy that's happened this year, and she said no. I understand the optics of having two people there, but I can tell you right now, there's times when, like our last basketball game against Chaparral, boys basketball game, we probably had 20 people in the stands. We probably lost money on that game. I understand where you're coming from, Mr. Guadiano, but I can tell you the practice in Aztec was, and Aztec is a bigger school, it's the same size as Silver, We had one person there at the ticket box, and the same process that we do here at Cobre was the same process at Silver. The only time I've seen two people at a game at a gate is either 5A schools or above, because they have the population for that, because they have the attendance. But at the same time, even if we did move forward to grabbing two people per table, sometimes I have to cover the table. We don't have enough people we can find to work the games. So sometimes we close the gate and the back end, you know, the back door when I'm talking about, sometimes we had to close that during volleyball because we couldn't find somebody. So it's kind of, I don't know, like a double-edged sword, if you want to say, Mr. Ryan, that,
Yes.
yeah, we'll lose money if we get two people, but sometimes we can't even find two people for one person at each table. And so it's kind of a hard situation. But I do understand your point, but I do want to reiterate that that we do this. We did this in Aztec. We had one person at each table. And I think the process that we have is very good, because not only do they have to count the money when they're done, they come and give me the box. I lock it right in front of them. I put it in the vault, and then Margaret the next day audits. So it's a two-layer system that we have. It's not just we trust the people at the table, which we do, but at the same time, Margaret goes beyond that and counts the tickets and the money the next day. So I just wanted to make that comment. I'm sorry if I
Yes.
butted in.
Thank
No,
you,
that's
Mr.
fine.
Grab.
And the money is sealed. It's sealed in a plastic bag. The ticket taker counts it. They reconcile their tickets. Margaret opens that bag, reconciles the tickets again. And so it's counted. It's accounted for. And might I add, too, that we have a really great bunch of ticket takers that work for us, that there is no doubt in my mind the honesty of the people that work, the honesty and integrity of the people that we have working for us. And I'll vouch for them.
This isn't a matter of questioning
Right,
their
I agree.
honesty.
It's just that you
I
have
think
no
that's- that-
Trust in people. I
We
know-
have,
Mr. Guadiana, please allow him to finish
Yes.
making his statement, and then you can respond.
I'm just saying that, we have the greatest people that work for us, and there's no reason, they haven't given us any reason not to trust in them. In a process like this, you have to trust in people. In any function, you have to put a little trust out there until they give you a reason not to trust them. So that's where we're at. And if you could show me the actual procedure to say you are required to have two people, I'd like to see them. That'd be really great.
Can I start now?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'm done.
One
Thank you.
thing is that you've been involved in the work in the audit committee, and you see that the level of trust shouldn't be to the level it is that you're talking about now. And that'll come out in time. But there is to say that you have absolute trust in everybody that is doing the work, and I don't have any question as to whether anybody, I think, is doing something wrong. It's a question, are we giving them the opportunity to take money and do it under circumstances that won't be found? So for every ticket that we sell, there'll be money for that. But if we don't put the ticket out for the person, then that money can go in a pocket. And you'll never find that in the process that you defined. The other part is that if there is an opportunity for somebody that would probably not think about stealing the money, but it's presented to them right in their face, that takes a lot more, and actually we bear some culpability for not having that accountability. The amount that you pay, I find it funny that you don't know how much we pay, because I doubt we pay $12 an hour. And if we did, that would be 2 tickets. That would be 2 tickets that would pay their salary for that. So you multiply that times even the 20 that you're talking about attending in one game, that still pays for that part. Granted, if you're talking about paying for everything else, that's a different story. But the amount of the cost that it would take to put 2 people there, or to come up with different methods, like you even talked about, having a sign put up saying, please make sure that you get a ticket. And if you do not get a ticket, report it. simple things like that that would show some level of accountability has been avoided, have been avoided for months. And one of the reasons that this discussion is happening is because these circumstances have come up in the audit committee. And our auditor has stated, you need to fix that yesterday. To continue with the mantra that you're doing now that's saying we don't need to do that is frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. And to see that there are efforts to intercede with this, what I would have expected from having this on the agenda is say, okay, I have this is how it's done, and I thank Mr. Goff to be able to present that. I'm just wondering why these kind of presentations aren't made when we ask about it in the audit committee, and why it is that you're asking me for something in PFAS that you should be very familiar with.
I'll say this, if there needs to be another level of accountability, then I will commit myself as the principal and the new high school athletic director to count. So we have 3 levels of counting. But I do want to say that we do use our gate money to pay our referees. And I can tell you the Chaparral game, because that was the first time I did my payment as a Cobre AD. I think it was $318 because we got to pay for travel as well. And so that's JV and varsity, and that's just JV and varsity. And so I'm willing to commit myself to another level of accountability. I get what you're saying, I do. But I also, I know you're not saying that we don't trust the people that we already have, but these are people who've been doing it for years after year, if I'm wrong, Mr. Ryan. And so I think this is not just a Cobre problem, right? If someone saw this and said, hey, Aztec's doing the same thing we're doing, then they can have those kind of same optics as well. But I am more than willing to sit down with Mr. Ryan, Margaret Rocho, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Corey, whoever I need to sit down with and say, hey, if I need to go check in every quarter and say how we're doing, how many tickets we sold, then I'm more than willing to do that. Because I want the best I want our money to be accounted for, and I also want to make sure that we're not only being accountable for our money, but also at the same time making sure that we're trusting our people who are doing it for a long time as well. And knowing that, even though that, the simple math is 2 a week pay for those people, just know that the refs are, we have to pay for a lot of refs that we pay for one ref to come from Arizona because of the ref shortage, and we had to pay for that travel fee. So there's a lot of different things in play, but I do get what you're saying, but I'm more than willing to sit with Mr. Ryan and we can find a solution I think that we all can come in agreement with.
I also think maybe going to an all online system. I know some schools have done, you purchase your tickets online and that's how you get into the game.
So Margaret and I talked about that this before the board meeting, and that's kind of hard to do. I was thinking about doing that in Aztec, and then we did I don't know what you call it. We did a survey of our population, and the majority of the people in Aztec are over 60 years old. And when you come to technical savvy, that's hard for them to do. And when they show up, I'm not going to turn a person away. To be honest with you, I'd rather let them in for free and cheer our team on if we don't have cash. But as you know, my father, he's 75 or 76. Sorry, Dad, if you're listening. 76 years old. And he's the kind of guy that cash is king, and he hates credit cards. He hates online stuff. He doesn't understand it. And so I think a lot of our population in Bayard and Hurley is like that. Yeah. I wouldn't mind having a double system like that. I think that would be good to kind of do like a soft rollout, and I agree with that, but we can't fully go that. I think we can fully go that probably 20 years down the road, if you want me to be honest with you.
I think a soft rollout would be good.
I think try it not, because there's a lot of platforms out there that are free to use, or even if there was like a startup fee that was like $195, whatever it is, we probably recoup that pretty fast, and I think that would help our younger generation out, right? But I think it'll be a while for us to go fully 100%, because we thought about that in Aztec. Bloomfield did that, and Bloomfield actually rolled back. They're like, okay, we're going to do cash because of the pushback from the older generation.
Okay.
Yeah, we already do have an online ticketing where you have the option of buying your ticket online or cash. So we do have that in place.
Okay.
Already.
I don't think anybody's used it then, because
It's very little.
Yeah.
Very, very.
But I think
little,
it's just more of a
there.
marketing thing that we do have that's probably on our end, that we probably need to market that more, that we do have that option.
Okay.
But, Mr. Goff, I just want to say thanks. It's refreshing to hear a perspective such as yours. And I'm greatly appreciative of that and gives me a lot more confidence in moving forward. But I'd also like to suggest that just using your debit card to enter as opposed to going online and having to do that, just having that there
Right.
is another
I
good
think,
way
I
of
think
assuring.
one of the things when we get our Cobre Spirit store up and running, we're
Yeah.
gonna have that Apple Pay, and if that's something that we make more money out of that store, we can, funnel some of that money towards, I mean, Apple Pay's pretty easy, right? And we can definitely look at those options as well, because that's more, easy to track, and it's more like, hey, it's black and white, right?
It's right there, and
And
it's
so
not gonna
I
get-
agree with you, but, like I said, I'm more than willing to commit to, creating a new policy to, have those better optics through the public, that we are taking care of our, financials.
I appreciate you
Yes, sir.
very much.
Okay.
Just a comment, I mean, right now, in today's world, the last 3 years that I got in the state tournaments, you can't get in if you don't go fan. That's just, so again, right, the older people that are not savvy with
Right.
that, they get their 16-year-old.
Correct.
Them how to go to the GoFan and get that stuff.
So you're 100% right. Like when we went to a Dallas Cowboy game one year, and my dad was like, "Okay, buy my ticket," right? That's what they use for the younger generation. I think sometimes that's and it's very minimal. Sometimes grandparents want to surprise their grandkids, and okay, I don't want them to know I'm coming, and so I think that we should be able to offer that cash for those kind of circumstances. But I agree with you, because I think we probably need to market. I didn't know we had the online. Thank you, Mr. Ryan, for mentioning that. I think we need to market that a little bit better, because I don't think our community knows that, and that falls on me. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gropp. Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to item B, our Finance Committee Charter Update. Elena did send me a guideline. We are going to present it at the next Finance Committee meeting next Wednesday at 4:15. So after that meeting, I can give a better update. Item C, our board retreat. I'd really like for Ms. Heredia and Mrs. Harden to weigh in on a day that would work for them. But I'm open to any suggestions and planning.
My availability is pretty wide, so
Okay.
Are you talking January or
In the new year, and Mr. Corey said he'd really like for us to focus on team building. That would be a priority for him.
just set a date?
Okay.
I think what we did the other day, the last time, was do it in the afternoon, instead of have to come out here on a Saturday,
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you guys.
I'm okay, weekend or weekday afternoons, it doesn't matter.
So I'd like if we can wait and see what Miss Heredia and Mrs. Harden's availability is, and we can set a date. If you guys are okay with that.
Yes.
Okay. We tabled the board self-evaluation. That moves us to item 9, our board member reports. Does anyone have anything to update on?
No, just a quick note, this is our last board meeting of 2024, and just want to wish everybody and staff and students, everybody have a safe holidays and enjoy their time off.
Just kind of echoing what Mr. Tarasa says. I know as a teacher right now, it's a crazy time. You're thinking of parent gifts, your student gifts, you're in the middle of MOY testing, and so it's just chaotic. So remember to give yourself some grace, spread some holiday cheer. I really enjoy seeing the weekly memo from all the principals, seeing the good work that your staff is doing and how you highlight them and encourage them. And so I'm looking forward to Thursday, seeing everyone and chatting with people more on a personal level. So just thank you to Mr. Corey and his staff. We truly appreciate the work you do and getting us through the day, every day. So thank you. Happy holidays.
I'd like to say thank you for all the people that do events. One of which is, one of the more important ones is right here, but with lots of help. This is a very busy time for planning family events, and there's a consistency, a very high effectiveness by what you guys do. I appreciate that greatly. I like that we're doing the things that we're doing now for people that are more in need. I remember after years of asking, what do we do to help people that are homeless? We had like a $500 budget for that, for the whole year. And it was never spent. So the transition is remarkable. It shows in the community, and it's what's needed. And I just hope we can go on the way of getting particularly finances in order. It's very difficult to be in a district where we're not eligible for capital outlay because of the being behind on our audits. 3 audits that we have not submitted, so we can't receive capital outlay money. Mr. Corey was able to get Bayard to be the fiduciary responsibility over the capital money that is funding our projects here to get teacher housing available. But it is something, a barrier that has been way too long tolerated. And I hope that we can get that part of it on the way so we can look at a new school at some time in the future. Particularly, that won't happen going the current circumstances that we're in. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. That moves us to item 10, our superintendent's report. Mr. Corey just said the fundraisers were in the packet. He said typically there's no questions, but I'm sure if there's a question, maybe Ms. Chavita can answer it.
There's no $22,000 one this time. But although a lot of them did not put down the amount of money that they were intending to raise. Can you have that updated? And, you know, if it's something alarming, let us know. But if not, just have that part updated.
Okay, we'll make sure of that, right, Charlene? Okay, thank you.
Not all of them. That one probably doesn't have it. That one does. Like about 5, isn't it? Yeah, some of them don't.
Okay, that moves us to item 11. Executive session notice is hereby given so that the Cobre Board of Education will meet in executive session for the following purpose. We did table item A until our next meeting. So item B, pending litigation as permitted under section 10-15-1 H7 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically so that the board can discuss and legal counsel can advise regarding item A, Annette Acosta versus the Cobre Consolidated District Board of Education, case number D608CV 2024-26, Cecilia Varela versus Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education, case number D-608CV 2024-28. Item C, Melissa Minus versus the Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education, case number D-608-CV 2024-29. Item D, Deanna Davis versus the Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education, case number D-608-CV 2024-31. And item E, Maureen Peru versus the Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education, case number D-608 CV 2023-28. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I'll move we go into executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, I'll do a roll call vote. Vice President Guadiana,
Yes.
Secretary Terrazas.
Yes.
And myself, yes. We are in executive session at 6:25 PM. Okay, item number 12, reconvene in open session at the conclusion of the executive session for a statement affirming that no action was taken in executive session and that discussions were limited to the pending litigation as specified on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to come back into open session.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. Guadiana,
Yes.
Secretary Terrazas,
Yes.
myself, yes. We are back in open session at 7:24. That moves us to item 13, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We are adjourned at 7:25 PM.